a massive difference between a pilot and an experiment, and my objection is that this is being introduced in winter, in the most troubled ambulance service, and a difficult winter at that. If there needs to, I'm not against a pilot, but do it at a quieter time of year. To bring it in now, I would have thought would strike her, with her long experience of the NHS, as more than a slightly risky thing to do. But what I need to hear today, in a moment, is his plan. What is his plan to bring standards in ambulance services and A&E back up to where they should be? Because if he waits much longer to tell us, people will conclude that he simply doesn't have one. The simple truth is that our hospitals are full and operating way beyond safe bed occupancy levels. It is a system visibly creaking at the seams. In a moment, another recent case, Madam Deputy Speaker, symbolises just how bad things have got. Michael Steele, a dad of two, aged 63, was moved from his ward to a store cupboard while being treated for an inflamed liver. Mr. Steele was unable to sleep because he was wheeled in and out of the cupboard while staff went to get drugs from the fridge. One nurse apparently told him it was, quote, absolute chaos. His son Tom took pictures of the ordeal, including a photo of the ward's whiteboard where nurses listed his dad's location as, quote, stock room. This is the NHS on his watch. I give way to my honourable friend.
Thank my friend. Can I agree with the Chair of the Health Select Committee that the Minister and his group should be listening to the professionals at the front line? But if they did that 3 years ago, we wouldn't have been along with the Health and Social Care Bill, because everybody, professional at the end of the health services, do not do it, and he ignored it.
I think what we can see, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that this decline began when they made the monumental misjudgment of bringing forward a top-down reorganisation that never should have been, that nobody voted for, that took 1.5 million eyes off the ball in the NHS, because they should have been looking at the front line and maintaining standards there. Instead, they had to look backwards and look at the reorganisation and the jobs merry-go-round that then carried on. It's really disgraceful that they did that and plunged the NHS into the chaos that it is today. I give way to my honourable friend.
Can I thank my honourable friend for taking intervention? Last Friday evening I spent some time at Whiston A&E talking to doctors and nurses, and they're doing an unbelievable job, but I had a number of problems, particularly the problem in the hospital in terms of getting elderly people back into the community when they've undergone treatment there, but also issues around getting nurses and retaining nurses, and also the tariff there. And there doesn't seem to be any answer coming from the government.
I think he describes the problems very well. I know the hospital well because I've been there with him, and that is the problem, isn't it? That older people are becoming trapped in hospital because the support just simply isn't there for them in their own homes, or the nursing home places aren't available either. So I'll come back to that theme in a moment, but I'll give way to my honourable friend.
Exactly that point. The Health Select Committee looked at the A&E crisis last week, and it was clear from the President of the College of Emergency Medicine that delayed discharges, he said, were due to under-investment in the community, by which he meant social care, GPs and district nurses. Yeah. And indeed, 1/3 of delayed discharges were down to social care. So those old people cannot go home, and those frail elderly people or vulnerable people cannot go home, and because of that, 1/3 due to social care, cut to 3.53 billion under this government.
Deputy Speaker, we have record numbers of delayed discharges in the NHS right now. It may even go past the 1 million mark, days lost in the year that we've just had. And that's the point, isn't it? That reorganisation I mentioned a moment ago, it costs £3 billion at least, probably more, but at least £3 billion. And that money had to come from somewhere, because the budget was flat. So where did it come from? As she rightly says, it came from cuts to the general practice budget. It came from cuts to the community services budget. It came from cuts to the mental health budget. Yeah. It came from cuts to the social care budget. That is why the community has been stripped out, stripped bare. It's why people are trapped in hospital, and this is a mess of their making. I'll give way one more time before I make some progress.
Honourable friend for giving way, and would he not agree with me that as far as ambulance response times are concerned, the same explanations apply? The closure of the NHS direct service, the cuts to the social care budget, and difficulties in seeing the GP.
Absolutely.
That's exactly the argument I'm going to come on to, Madam Deputy Speaker, but it is the precise reason for that. I've made some progress, maybe later. I said record numbers of delayed discharges. There are record numbers of people visiting A&E, record numbers of frail people being admitted through A&E, record numbers of people waiting on trolleys, and, of course, record numbers trapped in acute hospital beds. And the simple question that hasn't yet been answered by this government is why? Why is there this unprecedented pressure in accident and emergency? Until there are proper answers to that simple question and agreements about the true causes of the A&E crisis, we won't be able to move forward with a proper solution. And that is the point of today's debate. When he came here to answer the urgent question 2 weeks ago, the Secretary of State was asked by my honourable friend, the member for Halton, what he saw as the causes of the increased attendances at A&E. So let me remind the House what the Secretary of State said in response. This is the quote. "We have looked into that matter in detail. There are probably three broad factors that are behind the increase in demand. One is the ageing population. The second factor is changing consumer expectation amongst younger people who want faster healthcare. The third factor is a refusal by NHS trusts to do what they were pressurised to do in the past, which is to cut corners to hit targets." In other words, Madam Deputy Speaker, nothing to do with us, Gov. It's the same old story with this government and this Secretary of State. Always someone else's fault. Older people's fault. Younger people's fault. The last government's fault. Anyone but him. I give way to my honourable friend.
My right honourable friend knows Warrington well. Can I tell him that as well as ambulance response times increasing and having fewer GPs than we had in 2010, we are now seeing one of the last specialisms, spinal services, moved from Warrington to Walton with no public consultation whatsoever. Does he agree with me that this is exactly the result of the government's reorganisation, to which no one seems to be accountable for the decisions, and puts the future of hospitals like Warrington at risk?
My honourable friend is right, I do know Warrington well. And speaking up for my own family who live in Warrington, I won't accept a situation where their services are taken away without them having the democratic right to challenge those decisions. But it's what we've seen growing under this Secretary of State. We have the decision on Lewisham, the most outrageous example, where he tried to close a successful A&E that was serving a very deprived part of London without any proper process, and he lost in the High Court. And then we've had a clause brought before the House that tries to close hospitals anywhere. This is what they want to do. They want to kind of ride roughshod over local people, close services where they want to, and we won't let it happen. I give way to my honourable friend.